Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are turning Beauty and the Beast characters into the opposite version of themselves. And then we will see how these opposite characters would impact the story of Beauty and the Beast. Then I will make a movie trailer with all the characters as their opposite versions, and then play it at the end of the video along with making an opposite movie poster of all these characters. I'll use one of the bimbettes characters we see in the tavern with Gaston to explain our process of turning Beauty and the Beast characters into their opposites. First, it starts with my art robot Craig, who is connected to the internet and artificial intelligence. I will ask him to break down a character into their three main attributes. So first, we load in the character into the top of Craig, and then he tells us the character's main three attributes. So for the Bimbette, her three main attributes are beautiful, lively, and dumb. And lastly, I asked for the main color they wear. In this case, the Bimbette's is red. Now that Craig has identified this information, we will use the Craig search engine to have him pair each attribute and key color with their opposites. So the opposite of beautiful is ugly, the opposite of lively is dull, and the opposite of dumb is smart. And to find the opposite of a color, you choose a color on the opposite side of the color wheel. So the opposite of red is green. Now that Craig has all these opposite attributes, he applies it to the character, does his magic, and then prints it out. And now we can see this new character and see how their new personality and look would change their role in the movie by bringing them to life. Now let's move on to Gaston. Let's load him in. Okay, Craig, what are Gaston's three main attributes and key color? According to Craig, his first attribute is arrogant. Gaston's inflated self-confidence drives him to believe he's the only man worthy of Belle's love. His second attribute is charismatic. His charm wins the loyalty of the townspeople, who are eager to follow him without question. His third is reckless. His impulsiveness leads him to confront the beast without considering the dangers. And the colors most seen in is red. Okay, Craig, with this information, what are the opposite of arrogant, charismatic, reckless, and the color red? So according to Craig, the opposite of arrogant is humble, the opposite of charismatic is awkward, and the opposite of reckless is cautious, and the opposite color of red is green. Let's see this new Gaston. Wow, let's see how this version of Gaston would impact the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. Humble. Gaston's humility would lead him to respect Belle's choices and refrain from pursuing her against her will. Awkward. His awkwardness would make him less persuasive and admired by the townspeople, weakening his influence. Cautious. His cautious nature would deter him from attacking the beast, leaving the curse unbroken. Craig, I actually think you did a pretty good job on this one, so I'm gonna give you an 8 out of 10. Now let's add him to the poster. I'm very interested to see what he's like in the trailer at the end of the video. The next character is Mrs. Potts. Let's load her in. Craig, what are the three main attributes and key color of Mrs. Potts? So according to Craig, Mrs. Potts' first attribute is warm. Mrs. Potts' comforting presence creates a safe haven for Belle within the castle. Her second is nurturing. She treats everyone in the castle like family, fostering a sense of belonging. Her third is wise. Her sound advice helps guide both Belle and the Beast toward understanding and redemption. And the color she's most seen in is white. Craig, with this information, what is the opposite of warm, nurturing, wise, and the color white? So according to Craig, the opposite of warm is cold, the opposite of nurturing is indifferent, and the opposite of wise is foolish. And the opposite color white is black. Craig, print out this new opposite Mrs. Potts. Wow, let's see how this new version of Mrs. Potts would affect the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. Cold. Mrs. Potts' cold demeanor would alienate the castle's residents, fostering mistrust and division. Indifferent. Her indifference would cause her to neglect Belle and Chip, depriving them of guidance. Foolish. Her foolishness would lead her to make poor decisions that jeopardize the castle's safety. I just quickly want to say she does look foolish because she's trying on a rose, like looking in the mirror seeing how she looks, but the rose looks like the Beast's rose that he has to keep in a glass box so that he doesn't die. Pretty foolish to take that out of the glass box. I mean, I think this one looks really, really good, so I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Now let's add her to the poster. Ooh, she looks so cute. Can't wait to see her in the trailer. Now it's time for Maurice. Ow. Guys, it's Maurice time. Okay. It's time for Maurice. Let's load him in. Okay, Craig, what are the 3 main attributes and key color of Maurice? So according to Craig, Maurice's first attribute is eccentric. Maurice's quirky ideas set him apart, making him an inventor ahead of his time. His second is inventive. His creative genius results in the machine that ultimately leads him to the Beast's castle. His third is protective. Maurice's love for Belle drives him to risk everything to save her. And the colors most seen in is brown. Craig, with this information, what is the opposite of eccentric, inventive, and protective? And the color brown. So according to Craig, the opposite of eccentric is conventional, the opposite of inventive is unimaginative, and the opposite of protective is detached. And the opposite color of brown is teal, because brown is technically dark orange, and the opposite of orange is blue. Okay, Craig, let's see this opposite version of Maurice. Oh, he's a big boy now. He's a big boy. Let's see how this version of Maurice would impact the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. He wouldn't just impact it by taking up all the space, if you know what I mean. Conventional. Maurice's conventional thinking would prevent him from creating unique inventions, leaving the castle's location undiscovered. Unimaginative. His unimaginative personality would stop him from believing in Belle's love for the Beast, discouraging her efforts. Detached. His detached nature would make him indifferent to Belle's captivity, removing his motivation to save her. I like this one, but he doesn't really look too different from the original, except he's a lot larger. But you know what, it's not the greatest, so I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Now let's add him to the poster. Just a few more characters until the trailer. Next is the Beast. Let's load him in. Okay, Craig, so what are the Beast's 3 main attributes and key color? So according to Craig, the Beast's first attribute is temperamental. The Beast's fiery temper isolates him further, making it difficult to earn Belle's trust. His second is lonely. His deep sense of isolation drives his desperation to break the curse. His third is regretful. His remorse for his past actions motivates him to change and become a better person. And the colors most seen in is royal blue. Okay, Craig, what is the opposite of temperamental, lonely, regretful, and the color royal blue? So according to Craig, the opposite of temperamental is patient, the opposite of lonely is outgoing, and the opposite of regretful is carefree. And the opposite color of royal blue is orange. Okay, Craig, let's see this opposite version of the Beast. Oh, let's see how this version of the Beast would impact the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. Patient. The Beast's patience would lead him to wait for Belle's love instead of pressuring her, creating a slower but more natural connection. Outgoing. His outgoing nature would make him engage with the castle's residents, reducing the tension within. Carefree. His carefree attitude would make him neglect the urgency of breaking the curse, risking the permanent transformation. Yeah, he would have really changed up the story's plot, and also, he would have just scared Belle away. I know he would have scared me away. I like this one, Craig. It does kind of look like you just put him in orange and made him happy, but that's all the difference, so I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Let's add him to the poster. There are 5 more characters before the trailer, so stick around. Time to move on to my favorite character, Lumiere. Let's load him in. Craig, what are Lumiere's 3 main attributes and key color? So according to Craig, Lumiere's first attribute is charming. Lumiere's charm helps Belle feel welcome and appreciated in the castle. His second is bold. His fearless personality inspires others to act against the odds. His third is optimistic. Lumiere's unyielding hope keeps the castle residents motivated to believe in the curse being broken. And the color he's most seen in is bronze. Okay, Craig, with this information, what is the opposite of charming, bold, optimistic, and the color bronze? So according to Craig, the opposite of charming is awkward, the opposite of bold is reserved, and the opposite of optimistic is pessimistic. And the opposite color of bronze is blue. Let's see the opposite version of Lumiere. Wow, let's see how this version of Lumiere would affect the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. Awkward. Lumiere's awkwardness would make him a less effective guide for Belle, leaving her confused and unsupported. Reserved. His reserved nature would prevent him from rallying the castle staff to aid Belle and the Beast. Pessimistic. His pessimism would discourage the Beast and staff from believing the curse could be broken. So, his pessimism would just make him a big downer. Okay, Craig, I think you did a decent job. He doesn't look really that opposite, but yeah, he is wearing blue, so I guess you did a good job. I'll give you a 6 out of 10. Now let's add him to the poster. 4 more until the trailer. A time for Lumiere's sidekick, Cogsworth. Let's load him in. Okay, Craig, what are Cogsworth's 3 main attributes and key color? His name is too hard to say, so I'm just gonna call him Cogs. According to Craig, his first is punctual. Cogs' strict adherence to schedules ensures the castle operates smoothly. His second is orderly. His structured nature helps him maintain order amidst the chaos of the curse. His third is anxious. His constant worry drives him to avoid risks, ensuring the castle's safety. And the color he's most seen in is gold. Okay, Craig, with this information, what is the opposite of punctual, orderly, anxious, and the color gold? According to Craig, the opposite of punctual is spontaneous, the opposite of orderly is chaotic, and the opposite of anxious is confident. And the opposite color of gold is violet. Let's see this opposite version of Cogs. Oh, I actually kind of like this one. Let's see how this version of Cogsworth would impact the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. Spontaneous. Cogsworth's spontaneity would lead him to chaotic decisions that disrupt the castle's fragile stability. Chaotic. His chaotic personality would make him unreliable as a voice of reason among the staff. Confident. His confidence would cause him to take charge in ways that conflict with Lumiere's leadership, creating tension. I think this one is great and really fun, so I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. Now let's add him to the poster. 3 more characters until the trailer. The next character is Chip. Let's load him in. Okay, Craig, what are Chip's 3 main attributes and key color? So according to Craig, Chip's first attribute is playful. Chip's playful energy brings joy to everyone around him, especially Belle. His second is curious. His inquisitiveness helps Belle learn more about the castle and its inhabitants. His third is trusting. Chip's trust in Belle strengthens her resolve to help the beast. And the color he's most seen in is white. Okay, Craig, what is the opposite of playful, curious, trusting, and the color white? So according to Craig, the opposite of playful is serious, the opposite of curious is apathetic, and the opposite of trusting is suspicious. And the opposite color of white is black. Let's see this opposite version of Chip. So it looks like he's getting mad at his mom for taking the rose. Let's see how this version of Chip would impact the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. Serious. Chip's serious attitude would make him less endearing, removing the innocence that helps bond Belle and the staff. Apathetic. His apathy would prevent him from trying to cheer Belle up, deepening her sense of isolation. Suspicious. His suspicious nature would cause him to mistrust Belle, hindering their friendship. Wow, so he would have been a real pain. He wouldn't have been fun anymore. I think this actually looks really good. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Let's add him to the poster. We're so close to the trailer. The second to last character is LeFou. More like LeFou because he's... I'm joking. Let's load him in, if he'll fit. Craig, what are the 3 main attributes and key color of LeFou? According to Craig, LeFou's first attribute is funny. LeFou's humor keeps Gaston's schemes from becoming too dark. His second is clumsy. His frequent blunders often lead to unintended but humorous consequences. His third is opportunistic. LeFou's ability to seize the moment makes him a useful, if unreliable, ally to Gaston. And the color he's most seen in is red. Okay, Craig, with this information, what is the opposite of funny, clumsy, opportunistic, and red? So according to Craig, the opposite of funny is stern, the opposite of clumsy is graceful, and the opposite of opportunistic is principled, and the opposite of red is green. Okay, let's see this opposite version of LeFou. He's still LeFou, if you know what I mean. Let's see how this version of LeFou would impact the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. Stern. LeFou's stern demeanor would make him less comedic, depriving Gaston of his lighthearted sidekick. Graceful. His gracefulness would make him a more effective ally. Principled. His principled nature would lead him to oppose Gaston's schemes, potentially betraying him. I actually kind of like this one because in the picture he's smiling, but that just means that he's hiding the fact that he's actually kind of a betrayer. So I like this one. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Now let's add him to the poster. One more, guys, and then you get to see the trailer and the poster. We saved the best for last. It's the beauty herself, Belle. Let's load her in. Okay, Craig, what are Belle's 3 main attributes and key color? So according to Craig, her first attribute is curious. Belle's curiosity drives her to explore the castle and uncover its secrets. Her second is intelligent. Her sharp mind allows her to see past appearances and understand the beast's true nature. Her third is resilient. Belle's strength helps her endure captivity and fight for what she believes in. And the color she's most seen in is yellow. Okay, Craig, with this information, what is the opposite of curious, intelligent, resilient, and the color yellow? According to Craig, the opposite of curious is apathetic, the opposite of intelligent is naive, and the opposite of resilient is fragile. And the opposite color of yellow is purple. Let's see this opposite version of Belle. Oh, okay. Let's see how this opposite version of Belle would impact the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. Apathetic. Belle's apathy would make her indifferent to the plight of the beast and the enchanted staff. Naive. Her naivety would cause her to trust Gaston, leaving her vulnerable to manipulation. Fragile. Her fragility would prevent her from standing up to the beast or enduring captivity, breaking her resilience. Wow, so the story would have been completely different. This honestly doesn't look too different from the original Belle, so it doesn't really look like an opposite, so I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Now let's finish the poster and start the trailer.
In this world of opposites, nothing is as it seems. Belle is apathetic and fragile, lost in a haze of naivety, her once bright curiosity replaced by indifference. The beast is outgoing and carefree, with patience to spare but a heart unguarded. Gaston, now humble and awkward, hides behind caution. LeFou is no longer clumsy and opportunistic but stern and principled, standing as a moral compass where none existed before. Mrs. Potts has grown cold and indifferent, her nurturing warmth turned to black-hearted foolishness. Chip, serious and suspicious, questions everyone, his playful trust long gone. Lumiere, awkward and pessimistic, shuns boldness for the shadows, while Cogsworth, chaotic and confident, casts off order to embrace spontaneity. And Maurice, once a protective inventor, is now detached and unimaginative, his teal-colored world devoid of creativity or care. This is Beauty and the Beast as you've never imagined. A world turned upside down, where opposites rewrite the story.